Doechii hate is getting out of control. I have had enough. I know I've talked about it on The Bigger Picture before. If you guys watch that show, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jeremy Hecht. We're back with another video, and today I had to talk about the Doechii hate online, because even though online is a very small percentage of the world, I feel like it's seeping into real life conversations that I've had, and people's perception is based solely on what's going on these apps, okay? And it's getting out of control, and I think a lot of it's forced, and I think a lot of it is based in a lot of bias, and a lot of it's coming from, people who have agendas to push. If you think that there's a Doechii agenda, there's an anti-Doechii agenda as well, okay? So I want to talk about where I think it's coming from, why I think a lot of it's bullshit, and how we can combat that, okay? So where is this coming from in terms of hating on Doechii? Now, let's be honest. Let's not dance around it. A lot of things are stemming from a little back and forth that happened between two rappers last year. Okay, I know it seems like it's been ages that we've been living in this era where everything revolves around these two artists, but that happened only a year ago, and a lot of things stem from that. Now, a lot of the fan bases that have been divided come from those two camps, okay? And if you do remember, Doechii is signed to TDE. So let's just say what it is. A lot of people just group Doechii into Kendrick's camp, and a lot of people who are hating happen to be from the other camp, especially people who are on the online sphere of the stan accounts, or the people who all they do is tweet about one specific artist. They see that she's in another camp, they group her with them, especially since Kendrick co-signed her as one of the coldest out. I think he said she's the next up, or she's the hardest out. He had a post on Instagram, which was very rare for Kendrick, where he said something like that. Now, that's one thing. But before we get to point two, I think it's also completely unfair for those people to even group her in with Kendrick, because as much as Kendrick is an influence, and yes, they came from the same label lineage, their styles are completely different. Now, there may be some conceptual influence, but Doechii is much more of the class of Tyler, the Creator, or even, as she'll tell you, she loves listening to, West Side Gun. She's more of the class of like MF Doom and people who are really rapping and technical ability and creativity, and maybe even, Nicki or Eminem with the personas and the way she takes on characters and voices and stuff like that. So to compare her to Kendrick in most ways isn't even a fair shot at her music and her discography. So I that's why I don't like all of that, but it's okay. That's going to happen. All right. Number two, you also got to look at the fact that she's a dark-skinned woman succeeding at the highest level, when there are people like Ice Spice, for example, that came out and received not much critique. Now, the industry plant critique is really important when you look at this fact, because if anybody were to be an industry plant, it would be Ice Spice. She came out of nowhere, right? She dropped the On the Radar freestyle, and she dropped the Munch video. But what do we know about Ice Spice before that? I don't know that anyone here could name a single thing that she did prior to that video. You can also look into Ice Spice's family history and realize that she has a bit of a connection somewhere in there and had an into the music industry. Okay, there was somewhere in there, again, somebody will look it up. You can confirm this, but there was somebody in Ice Spice's family, friends. There was a connection she had to a manager, something like that, before she came out to the world as Ice Spice. So she had a connection. She got a couple opportunities. She put out a song with a nice visual, okay? And then she blows up. And then she continues to shake her ass for 3 years. And that's all we've heard of Ice Spice since. And this is no shade to Ice Spice. That might have sounded like shade. But all I'm saying is, if you're going to call a spade, call it when it actually is one. Don't make it up when it's not. And so does some of that have to do with the fact that it's a dark-skinned woman versus a light-skinned woman? Yes. Does some of it have to do with her label affiliation? Yes. But some of it is just pure ignorance. It's people being fed a narrative and continuing to believe it when it's not true. Now, you can look up online Doechii's history, and you can easily be proven wrong. Now, I'm not going to say that most of the people in the world are lazy, but there are a lot of people who aren't willing to do that work. So that's fine. If that happens to be you, you don't want to look this stuff up. I'll show you something real quick. This is Doechii's YouTube page, her publicly available YouTube page. I'm sure there were others prior to this, but this is the one we have access to. Now, if you simply go to the latest video, you will see Anxiety at 18 million views from 3 weeks ago. It is about to hit number 9 on the charts. Now, if you look back to the oldest video, you will see 10 years ago. You will see a young Doechii making videos with her friends. 10 years ago, you will see her making YouTube videos. 5 reasons why you can do it. Motivation Monday, story time, the time I almost got kidnapped. She's just having fun, talking shit, making vlogs, okay? And you can see the continued growth from that. So again, a lot of us have YouTube channels. A lot of us who wanted to be creators have old videos. You can go back on my channel. I'm sure I have some old videos from 15 years ago or something like that. But where you really can start to see her actual journey as an artist, you can look back and find it. All you have to do is scroll. There are videos of her talking about struggling with her job and wanting to quit and not knowing how to break through creatively. And you look at, like, before you become an adult, read the fine print, The Artist's Way, her reading The Artist's Way, the book. I'm reading that right now. There's a workbook you can get alongside it. That's the one I'm reading. And it really does help you break through creatively and really understand a lot more about where some of your blockages might come from, where some of your desires might come from creatively. But she does all of this, and that's 5 years ago. She's really documenting her journey. You can see from 5 years ago, she has a video probably recorded in her bedroom, okay, as she's doing this. Now it has 1.5 million views, but that's people going back to this stuff. You can see her literally making the Anxiety cover for 4 years ago. 4 years ago, this video now has 12 million views after it blew up. But at the time, I'm sure this was sitting at probably around 20K, 50K, maybe 100K views. You see her continue to struggle, continue to grind. Look at her put out projects online. You can go back to all of these old videos. So again, I'm not going to scroll through everything, but it's simply ignorance if you don't want to look through and find where people came from and how much they've put in to get to where they're at. So that's another thing. People just simply don't know. But here we are showing you, okay? The other thing is people don't realize that she's already had an extremely successful hit song. Extremely successful. If you look at this, what it is, featuring Kodak Black, 91 million views on YouTube. I'm sure this streaming-wise is probably even more than that. This is a platinum song. Most artists never get a platinum song, and this is from 2 years ago. Okay, the official date on this, let's look at the official date. This video was from March 17th, 2023, so over 2 years ago. This song came out, became a hit. It was a platinum song. Now, again, this is part of maybe artist development and what they did at TDE with her, where this sound was a lot more poppy and the song became much bigger than she was at the time. You probably heard this song even if you didn't know it was Doechii. You're probably sitting around or walking around or in a mall or at a club and you heard what it is, oh, and you're like, oh, I like this song. And you know that song now. You just did not know it was Doechii. And even some of you watching this right now are probably like, wait, I didn't know that was her song. Yes, that's her song. That's a platinum song. That's 2 years ago. So she already had a hit, okay? She already had a hit prior to any of this. What she was actually dealing with, which we saw on her mixtape, which if you listen is incredible, is her dealing with the struggles of having a successful song, something blowing up on TikTok, but it not feeling right with her artistic values. And in fact, with her mixtape, she took an extreme creative risk and career risk by going against that sound. If she already had a successful song with that sound, she could have continued on with that sound, but instead, she felt like she was making music that wasn't her. And the rest of it wasn't hitting the same. And so what she did is she went back into her own world, like she's talked about in interviews. She became sober, she locked in, she went to the studio, she worked with producers, she found a way to tell her story in a way that made sense for her. And it happened to connect with the audience. But on Alligator Bites, the mixtape, she tells her story of dealing with her late. She even has a risky enough song, in my opinion, where it could have negatively affected her relationship with her label and made them not want to promote it. She has a song where she's talking about, them wanting to make boom bap rap and them being like, we want more hits. And she deals with the struggle of it on multiple songs on that project and how she's really dealing with the internal struggle of where she wants to go as an artist. And to put that out for the world to hear is not something that's usually commercially viable. Denial is a River is a very vulnerable song about her struggle with some of this stuff and substance abuse and her ex, but that's not necessarily packaged in a way that would make sense to be a hit song. It just happened to connect with people. So again, when you look at her sales, a lot of people pointed to 11K her first week with that mixtape. That's fine. That's 11K. DDG just did 11K. And you know what his response was? Cool, let's keep marketing this. Let's make videos to the single. I'm going to keep pushing it. I'm going to make a deluxe. He didn't take that and say, I'm done. Most artists take 11K, 10K, whatever it may be, and say, I'm done. Cool. First week out. Doechii didn't do that. She believed in the project. Yes, she does have a label behind her. She has a team that probably also heavily believes in the project. And she said, let me keep marketing it. What opportunities can I have to make this project be seen more? Whether that be music videos, whether that be Instagram Live talking to her fans, whether that be performing, whether that be an NPR Tiny Desk. And again, some of these opportunities are probably helped with from the label, but a lot of it is her being the one to spearhead this and her team saying, we're going to get this music out to the people. So I feel like when people think, it's being forced down your throat. No, this was a slow build. This was a slow build over the course of years. And it's somebody who is a star. This is my next point is we're unaware of what a superstar looks like in rap because we haven't had very many of them in the past few years. We've had superstars from another generation. We see them still continue to dominate the landscape. Drake and Kendrick's battle was insanely dominant of the news cycle. It still is. You see our show, it still comes up. There's still lawsuits, there's still tours, there's still albums, there's still subliminal shots. That is still the biggest thing in hip hop. And that's because those were massive stars. But since then, there have been people to teeter the fence of that, but they haven't been able to be outspoken, creative to the point where they're showcasing their art in a new way, boundary pushing, maybe sonically or even just visually or the way that they're presenting themselves. And they haven't been rappers, okay? We've had stars that make great music or maybe not even objectively great music. You might think it's whack, but we've had stars that have elevated sonically, right? We've had Travis Scott. We've had Playboi Carti. We've had people who have kind of inched their way into stardom but never really fully took that spot. We had Roddy Ricch. We had Cordae, we had Jack Harlow, we had JID. We've had people who have kind of showcased that they could be that next level star, but never quite reached it. But with Doechii, what's different is that she is a rap superstar, okay? Like it or not, Doechii raps her ass off. She's got bars, she's got metaphors, she's got similes, she's got everything you want in a rapper. She's got storytelling ability, she's got flow, tone, all of the boxes that you want checked in a rapper, she has at the highest level. Now, you might not like her as a rapper, and that is very fine. You might not like everything she does as a rapper. That is fine as well. But you have to admit her talent. You have to admit her skill if you know anything about the craft. And we haven't seen somebody do it like her at the highest level in a long time. Now, even on the female side, we've had superstars. A Cardi B was a superstar, right? But she wasn't necessarily a pure rapper. there was all the talk about ghostwriters. There was all the talk about, who she's working with. There's her as a reality star first. She's incredibly likable. She made great music. Her first album, in my opinion, is very, very, very good. A great body of work. And we were all looking forward to the next. But she wasn't necessarily a rap superstar. Since then, we've had people kind of almost reach that, right? We had like a Lotto, who is a great rapper in my opinion as well. But she hasn't necessarily reached that next level yet. I think creatively, she might not be on the same level as a Doechii, in the sense of Doechii to me is again, like I said, Tyler the Creator, in the way that she's going to build worlds. She's going to take every performance seriously. She's going to have the choreography. She's going to have the outfit. She's going to have everything to go along with her music. And it's going to all fit together like a superstar will. Again, Lotto can get there. I think Glorilla can get there. She might even be there already. I love Glow. I loved her album. You could even consider Glow a superstar. But we haven't had many, female or male. We haven't had many rap superstars in the past few years. And you can let me know below if I'm missing people, or if you think there are rap superstars that kind of have taken off as a rapper too. But I think that's part of the problem, is people don't even remember what this looks like. when they come out of working hard, putting out projects, and then they have their moment. Kendrick had his moment with Good Kid, Mad City, but if you look back at Section 80, he was building that momentum. People were looking forward to Good Kid, Mad City because they saw it, because they saw what he was doing on Section 80, and because they thought this is going to change the game. Kendrick was marketing Good Kid, Mad City as the project that would save hip hop. He said, if you want hip hop to live, support me on October 22nd. I believe that was the initial date of Good Kid, Mad City. And I remember it either got pushed back a week or moved a couple weeks. But that was how it was marketed, a rap superstar. We had Drake, who was a superstar, but he was making huge songs. They were bigger than just hip hop at that point. Even Cole, another one who, when he put out Sideline Story, it was marketed as, this huge thing for like a rapper to do certain numbers. He wanted people to go out and buy his album so that he could show that he could make an album that he believed in rap-wise that would do numbers and be a mainstream success. Now, you could love or hate the Sideline Story. Friday Night Lights was probably ultimately supposed to be his debut album. That's a whole nother conversation. But again, Doechii is doing this through rap, and she is doing it with respect to the craft too. She is not necessarily just blowing up and forgetting about it. She just did a West Side Gun feature. She did not need to do that. Now, again, she had said that West Side Gun is a huge influence. And he reached out to her and said, wow, I saw it, and they made the meetup happen in person. She sent a verse. She killed it, but she was barring up that. She said, I want to rap. And she's making sure that it's known that she can still rap her ass off. After she won her Grammy, she dropped a rap song where she was barring up. It was like these are moves that a rap superstar is doing. And then at the same time, she's doing a Timeless remix with The Weeknd. Now, again, you don't have to like everything Doechii does. That's delusion, and that's stand-up. I personally didn't like the Timeless verse. I said that. I didn't like it. I didn't think it fit the song perfectly. But the people who are saying, who asked for this? I think I had tweeted, I didn't need this, right? That was me saying, me personally, I didn't need that song. But the people who are saying, who asked for this? The Weeknd asked for it. The Weeknd is the one who tweeted, who posted on Instagram and said, I asked Doechii for this. I saw her Grammy performance and I thought, wow, this woman's incredible and it's insanely talented. I want to get her on a song. And he's the one who sent her that song and picked her for that song. So who is some random person on Twitter to say they didn't need it? Who am I to even say I didn't need it when The Weeknd is the one who needed it? And I also realized by posting that tweet, it's sort of adding to this narrative and giving fuel to a group of people that are already amplifying this hate. So I even, after I tweeted that, I was like, I did not need to say that publicly in that form, in that manner, especially when it's going to be used to amplify the hate that's already there. But again, not to say you can't be critical, but the fact that the critique and the hate is so high for this one specific person versus how it is for anyone else doing things that people dislike, or anyone else who's doing much less, or anyone else who isn't as talented. And so I think Again, you can dislike things. That is very much fine. I think it's okay to have opinions that go against an artist that you love. But to dislike with the hate to the level that it's happening right now online is getting out of hand. It's getting ridiculous. And I know it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Anxiety is about to hit #1 on the charts potentially. It's at #9. It's only climbing. It's got the TikTok world behind it. It's got the Instagram Reels world behind it. It's got an incredible video behind it. It's got a storyline behind it. It'll keep going as Doechii's fame continues to rise. And it's okay to not like that song as well. Again, she made it 5 years ago. Like, if you looked at my work from 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't want to put it out there unchanged and just let it loose into the world like she did, which is an incredibly brave thing to do, in fact. I don't think most artists would go back into their archive and pull a song, even if fans asked for it, and put it out from 5 years ago. And for it to stand the test of time is incredible, too. But again, it's okay to dislike the song, but to hate her or hate the fact that she's succeeding, that falls into one of those few different categories that I spoke about in this video. And the last thing is, people are extremely hypocritical as to what they make a big deal of when it comes to artists and celebrities. For example, Doechii at the Met Gala, there was a video of her kind of yelling at her team, telling them to give her the umbrellas. And nobody's saying that that necessarily was a great way to treat the people who are helping you achieve a look. Nobody's saying that, okay? I'm not sitting here being like, that was, okay. No, I mean, it was probably an extremely high stress situation, and it's her first real pop out at an event to that caliber. And I'm sure she was extremely nervous and stressed and took it out on her team in the moment. But that is nothing compared to some of the things that we let go when it comes to a lot of male artists, a lot of them. And we're talking, and not just male artists, people like media figures, politicians. There's people who have legit cases on them. There's people who have dark pasts. There's people who have things that they've said publicly, that are extremely, extremely racist or homophobic or anti-Semitic or whatever it may be. There's people that actually, and I won't name who they are, there's people that put some of those thoughts into their music and put it out into the world. And people are okay with that and listen to that. But yet this woman criticizes her team too harshly at the Met Gala. And that's a cancelable offense. Or, yep, I knew it. I knew something was off. Like, give me a break. I just think the double standard there, it's okay to be critical. Again, you can have critique, but the double standard of how things are elevated on one side and forgotten about on another side, or all of these other sides over here. And again, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. I just did want to address it because we have an album most likely coming up next year, and I do think it's going to change everything. I think the level that she's at right now is already superstar level. I think we're going to see her take off to the next level. And so if you're not on the bandwagon, that is fine. If you are on the hate wagon, you're going to have a lot more to hate about, because I don't think this girl is going anywhere anytime soon. It seems like she's locked in, she's focused, she has a good team around her, and the music that she's probably working on right now, ultimately any of this hate, all the industry plant talk, all of this is probably adding to the storyline that she's building right now for her next album, and I personally am excited to see it. So let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what you think of all of this. Is all of it fake hate? Is it fake outrage? Did it fit into one of those 3 or 4 categories that I mentioned? Do you think it's other reasons for it? Let me know, and let me know what you think of the mixtape, the recent songs, anything in between. And let me know what you want me to talk about next in the channel. We're almost at 20,000 subs. I think we're at like 19,200 or something like that. If we can get to 20,000 from this video, if you're watching right now, if you watched all the way to the end, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. I don't make money from these videos. I simply do it because I do want to speak about hip hop. I want to speak about music. I love this, and I want to keep building with you guys who are watching. So leave me a comment, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.